Feeling it to heal it is one of the keys. And understand this, these emotions are gifts. Even negative emotions are gifts because they are showing something to you. They are indicators of energy. There's a reason that I'm attracting someone into my life, and maybe some of it's projection too. Maybe I have this story or this belief about people that I do business with or that I work with where they're taking advantage of me and I have trouble setting boundaries. And what is that? Because I know the way that it works is, this is how it works with vibration, with everything. It goes belief, then feeling, then thoughts, then action, then results, which then fuel the belief, the initial belief. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So the only way you can have any type of feeling is if you have something that you believe to be true about what's happening that then gives you the feeling. If there's a rainy day, the rainy day may trigger somebody to have a great day or a bad day depending on the meaning they give to a rainy day. It's a neutral idea. And even this guy that's coming back and giving me a different amount or whatnot, it is a neutral idea that I'm giving meaning to. And the meaning that I'm giving it is also past triggering experiences that led to a story. And the story is that people take advantage of me. The story is that, I paid him when I shouldn't have. And there's a story there that I'm tying to the experience that was causing me to feel that negative emotion. Now, when I woke up the next day, what I realized is that maybe some of this is projection. And I had my assistant talk to him. And, I was trying to talk to him, but he's just so hard to get a hold of. And I originally did talk to him, and he kind of, it's just been easier. I realized the most important thing with myself is my own energy. So when I get up in the morning, I focus on videos and content. So I just have my assistant deal with it, just because that's what I pay her to do, is to deal with stuff like this. So I don't have to get energetically entrenched in it. And she felt like he was being honest. Like he called and was like, well, I did have to add on these things for the stuff that Aaron had done in the kitchen, and it wasn't paid up yet from the invoices. And before I paid him that $15,000, I said very clearly, this is the last check I'm going to give you. I don't owe you anything else. And and I looked him in the eye and said that, and we had this agreement. But what happened is I did add things on afterwards. So it was kind of on me. So what I realized from this situation is that I did add on things. I did have to swallow my pride and my ego in a way. And my assistant said she felt like he was being honest about what he was doing. So what I realized is it's probably a little bit of a mix of both. He didn't probably want to pay that full amount, so maybe he was inflating some of the prices a little bit, but he did have to do extra stuff. But what I realized from this is it made me become aware of the belief and the meaning that I have that I'm placing upon this experience that then has the emotion and what I'm feeling. So what I looked at, is there an aspect of me that doesn't trust people in a certain way? Because back in Las Vegas, before I got rid of that house, I had a landlord that had very narcissistic tendencies and was very controlling and kind of manipulative. And I got out of that house not that long ago, but it that whole situation, it became a really weird situation. And I realized I have this pattern where maybe I don't trust people, and then because of that, I attract people that I can't really trust, or that I project onto them my own stuff, and then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that was something that really reflected back to me. So I started looking at my own past, and I realized that from 7 to 15 years old, as some of you know from my story, I had the abusive ex-stepmom in my life from 7 to 15. My brother and I had no freedom. She was mentally and physically abusive, and we weren't allowed to have friends, weren't allowed to watch TV, we had to earn going to school, normally locked outside, had to do yard work, and for almost the whole day, we had to sneak, if we ever wanted to watch TV, we had to sneak food from the main house, because we lived in a little mother-in-law's 70s outdated house with a little kitchenette, and we were given a bowl of cereal. A gallon of milk had to last a week. And the reason I tell this story is just to kind of paint the picture for the level of control that was there. And there's the dynamic. And imagine what you would believe about yourself and how you would trust people if that happened. And maybe even if some people in your family let that happen, like your dad or something, allowed it to happen, you'd lose a sense of trust. And I definitely believe that I have this belief that it's hard for me to trust people because what if they turn out to be like my ex-stepmom? What if they have intentions like my ex-stepmom? And that was something I became aware of. I became aware of that energy pattern, and it became this huge gift where I realized that there's such a drive that I have to be right. It's like I'm trying to prove to myself that this guy is trying to screw me over, so then I'm finding evidence to it to then give me that self-fulfilling prophecy. But when I was feeling the negative emotion, one thing I want to share with you that I think is so important is let yourself feel what you feel. There's no shame that comes with it. It's not like if you feel it, you're going to manifest something bad. It's more so if you don't feel it, you don't heal it. So feeling it to heal it is one of the keys. And understand this, these emotions are gifts. Even negative emotions are gifts because they are showing something to you. They are indicators of energy. They're indications that maybe you're out of alignment with yourself, or you're out of alignment with certain aspects of yourself, or you're in alignment with different aspects of yourself, or you're in alignment in general. So, because remember, feeling and emotion comes from a meaning, a belief. You must first believe something to be true to then have some type of emotion that you feel. And for me, that's what I was realizing. That there's something here. And it wasn't easy because I had to swallow my pride, and I had to take accountability for what was happening. I had to take accountability for my own part of the process, which is probably attracting it in the beginning to begin with and also projecting on. So to really bounce back from low vibration, one of the keys is to feel it, to heal it, to allow yourself to feel what comes up and to understand that those negative emotions aren't bad. Those negative emotions are indicators. They are indicating something back to you. They're indicating your own level of alignment. They are indicating how you are showing up. They are indicating some belief that you may have that is out of alignment. And that's a gift because once I became aware of that, I felt so empowered. And I thought, what are aspects of myself that aren't trusting other people and also myself? Am I not trusting myself? And I can see how in my life, maybe I'm not showing up in the most powerful way to where I am trusting myself, my own confidence. I hold myself back in some ways. Now, when I look at my vibrational set point, which is dramatically raised from 2012, one of the things that happened is there was a level of self-sabotage where I'm like, this is too good to be true. And back in 2012, the Nordstrom's and Women's Shoes is where I was working. I went through a spiritual awakening that completely transformed my life. I learned meditation. And when I learned how to meditate and I learned how to observe my thoughts from a neutral place, it completely transformed my life. I was taking Adderall at the time, which is the prescription drug they give to people that have what is called ADHD. I would take that during the day, and I would be very focused, but it had very harsh side effects. The harsh side effects where you couldn't eat very much, couldn't sleep very much. Then what would happen is at nighttime, I would smoke cannabis, and I felt very stuck, very blocked. I felt very dependent on other substances because I was codependent on those substances. And I was very entrenched in my story about my past. I felt like I wasn't worthy, of course, from the ex-stepmom situation. I realized that I was attracting similar people into my life. I was stuck in this pattern of attracting. My ex-stepmom was still she wasn't in my life, but was because my manager at Nordstrom's was my ex-stepmom energetically. She was mentally and physically abused, or not physically abusive. She was mentally and emotionally abusive. She'd make people cry. She was protected by upper management because she was, just because she was protected by upper management, she was almost impossible to get her fired, even though she should have got fired way before she did. She did eventually get fired. She got fired after I had my awakening, after I started meditating, after I forgave my ex-stepmom. She got fired within a week. Why? Because I believe patterns leave our life when we do the work. The outside is just a reflection of the inner reality and what we get in life, what we believe we deserve. And once I forgave my ex-stepmom, I released that energy. And it was crazy how quickly my reality began to change. But one of the things that happened is I began meditating, and I was observing I really became aware of the spirituality of like that we're eternal spiritual beings having temporary human experiences. That was like a huge epiphany. And in that moment, I started studying reality. I became so fascinated with metaphysics, and it became my passion to share with other people more about reality and how it may work. The law of attraction, understanding that what we put out is what we get back, and these energy patterns that I was becoming aware of that was really radically shifting my life. And I went from feeling really stuck to the meditation for me was so freeing. I felt like a new version of me. And even think about the identity shift. I went from working a 9-to-5 job, and I was still working a 9-to-5 job for years after I went through my awakening. But basically what happened is there was a huge identity shift that happened where I went from ungrounded, lots of energy, and taking Adderall that day. ADHD was a part of my identity. There was a shame that came with that because it's a disorder. And I felt like people always ask, what's wrong with you? Why do you have so much energy? And I'd take Adderall and then I would mellow out. And then not only that, I was really partying a lot. All of a sudden, I don't want to party so much. I just want to meditate. I started feeling so good. And it was just a meditation I would do where I would observe my thoughts. I'd start a candle flame and observe my thoughts. And the game changer was the third day committing to meditation. I just realized that I had this download, this feeling that my life's going to change. And I started to observe my thoughts rather than try to control them. Because at first I was trying to control, and I learned about the law of attraction. I'm like, if I think a negative thought, I'm going to manifest something negative. So it became this weird thing. But then I realized if I just observe those thoughts, they become less and less. But if I start to control my mind, it becomes this never-ending battle, and I create more resistance. I hope you guys enjoyed that little segment from my podcast called the Aaron Doughty Podcast. If you want to listen to the rest of that episode, click the link below. You'll see it on iTunes and Spotify. You can download episodes. It's so easy to listen to. You can do it while you're working out, while you're driving. It's so convenient. And that's where new episodes go live every Tuesday and Thursday. Every single week, I have guests coming on the podcast. I have solo episodes, and we go really deep. This is really a place where I get very personable, and I share more about things I'm thinking of. I share my top book insights, and you can check it out and subscribe below, and you will see it there. So iTunes, Spotify, listen to the rest of the episode below as well, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace, much love, and namaste.